With the way this year is already moving, being that it's the end of January, spring is slowly but surely creeping up on us. Which means one thing, spring vacation. Which got me thinking, what are the most popular states to take a vacation in the US? And to my surprise, number 1 was California and number 2 was Florida. Actually wasn't that big of a surprise. I figured it was either Florida or California because most people's vacations revolve around going to Disneyland. Now, California doesn't really count to me because I was born and raised there. In all honesty, I get it. I see why people would want to take a vacation in Florida. There are literally so many reasons to visit this beautiful state. From the amazing weather to the beautiful beaches they have. Like I said before, any state that has a Disney World, Universal Studios, and a SeaWorld will be visited. You can visit cities like Miami and Orlando for great shopping, dining, and nightlife. Plus, there's beautiful people everywhere. So I definitely understand why people would want to visit Florida. And with all that being said, Florida is the very last place you'll catch me stepping foot on. Why, you ask? Because Florida is infested with disgusting, scary, and vicious animals that don't belong there. If you know anything about Florida, you're already informed that it's a wild place. Aside from the fact you can be walking in flip-flops one minute, and then the next, there can be a hurricane with winds strong enough to rip your roof off, the wildlife in Florida is insane. Being in Florida, you already have to deal with black bears, venomous cottonmouth snakes, panthers, and even bobcats. And those are just a few of the animals that actually belong there. It seems as though every animal that makes its way to Florida is either extremely invasive, dangerous, or both. In the case of this snakehead fish, it's both. The snakehead fish is native to Asia but has been found in many places in the US, including Florida. Snakehead fish were introduced to America by exotic aquariums that probably found out that they're a little bit too much to handle a little too late. This would lead to them being dumped into local water systems, like Florida rivers. Snakeheads are extremely aggressive creatures that have razor-sharp teeth strong enough to rip through flesh, including humans. They may not be giants, but they aren't tiny either. These fish can grow to be around 3 feet long and weigh 19 pounds. The problem with these fish is they spread like wildfire. Snakehead fish can lay anywhere from 50,000 to 75,000 eggs a year each. After a man reported a sighting of a snakehead in Georgia, the news went nationwide. Georgia enforcement requested anyone who catches a snakehead fish to freeze it and then end it. But that's not all. These fish can survive on land for 3 whole days. Partially because they can kind of breathe air. They literally have organs that allow them to take in air for around 3 days as long as they stay moist. Now, I'm not necessarily saying these fish can walk on land, but they do a little shimmy. So basically what I'm saying is Florida could potentially have an unlimited supply of invasive fish that have razor sharp teeth, can breathe air, and can kind of walk on land. The walking part might be a little dramatic, but you get my point. If that last fish wasn't big enough for you, maybe this guy is. The Burmese python. These pythons are native to Southeast Asia, and they're fairly dangerous, being that they're one of the largest snakes in the world. These pythons get huge. Not even a year ago, there was an 18-foot, 215-pound python found in Florida. And these snakes can reach lengths of 22 feet long. So this isn't a small one, but it's not the biggest they get. And if that's not enough for you, they're also great swimmers that can stay underwater for over 25 minutes. These snakes are more than capable of climbing trees, so there is no hiding from them. Now the question is, why and how did they get to Florida? In Miami, these snakes used to be imported by the thousands from Southeast Asia. It is now illegal to import or buy these snakes in Florida. Between the mid-90s to the mid-2000s, there was an estimated 90,000 pythons that were transferred to the US as pets. These snakes started reproducing in the wild because of 2 reasons. One, Irresponsible pet owners. Obviously, these snakes get huge, so some of the irresponsible pet owners just would release them into the wild. And the other reason is these pythons would escape during harsh storms and hurricanes. And if you know anything about hurricanes out there, you understand why. And once again, Florida is the reason why Florida is so dangerous. Let me introduce you to one of my favorite animals to talk about in the world, the cane toad. The cane toads are slowly but surely taking over South Florida, and no one really talks about it because it's kind of our fault. Back in the 1940s, cane toads were introduced to America as pest control, and it didn't really work out well. For some reason, we thought it would be a good idea to bring in invasive species to get rid of another invasive species. And instead of exterminating, these cane toads multiplied. The definition of putting a hat on a hat. And did I mention that they're poisonous? Cane toads release this little white poison from glands in their shoulders when they feel threatened. This can cause rapid heartbeat, convulsions, paralysis, and even death to their predators. So having cane toads running around is really not a fun time for anyone but the cane toads. These are just a few of the obnoxious, invasive creatures that have taken over Florida. And that is exactly why Florida is the very last place you'll catch me walking into. All jokes aside, before I get out of here, I just want to say thank you guys, because the amount of love I've gotten on this page is amazing. I really just made this channel because I enjoy talking about animals, making people laugh, and hopefully getting a few people through their day. If you did enjoy that video, if you could just click the like button and the subscribe button, it would definitely help out my channel a lot. And one last thing, I joined my favorite company in the world, Anaka Power, so we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. Take care of yourselves out there, and as always, peace and love, baby. As you may or may not know, I've teamed up with my favorite company in the world, Anaka Power, and we're coming out with our first drop of the year this Saturday, and I'm genuinely just excited. I'm going to show you guys a few of my favorites, but before that, we got to talk to the ladies. For the first time, this drop will have a whole section exclusively for the ladies, which includes this nylon set, your own 3.5-inch basic and graphic shorts. They're clean too, bro. This Sherpa set and plenty more, but I'll let y'all find the rest on the website. My absolute favorite has to be this nylon set that I'm wearing right now. Comes with a zip jacket plus some sweatpants or shorts, just depending on how we're feeling that day. We also have this Sherpa set that comes with a top, sweatpants, and shorts. Speaking of shorts, we have all kinds of mesh shorts coming out this drop too. All these items drop 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now you can use my code Corey for an extra 10% off. And as always, guys, peace and love, baby.